Welcome to We're Talking Bears, where uncle, nephew, and son bring you the latest in the Bears experience. I'm uncle,
I'm son.
and where the heck is nephew? Anyway, we're
Yeah.
here. We're here to discuss this up and down ride against Indiana. A game that we were supposed to win. We were supposed to beat those Colts, and we didn't. And there's a lot of reasons why. Let's get into it. What's your thoughts?
Man, I got a lot of thoughts. I got too many thoughts. Um, First off, what the heck are we doing, man? Like, there's there's like a line where you're getting to the point where you're coaching. It makes so little sense that like you're forcing us to repeat the same mistakes of the past. Eberflus is forcing us to repeat these mistakes. Like going down 1-2 early in the season, that's not the end of the world. 1-2, you can recover from that. But this is the easy part of our schedule. The Colts, the Rams, um, the Panthers, I want to say, and then there's one more game. And then we start playing division games, we start playing playoff teams. Um, and it gets real ugly real fast. And if we can't get ahead right now, if we just mortgaged our franchise and then we move backwards, um, in terms of our offense, in terms of our run game, our play calling, and the defense didn't look as good against the Colts as they did against the other couple of teams. Anthony Richardson just looked awful. So if the Colts can squeak out a win against us, if Jonathan Taylor can just run through our defense and break off big gash run plays against us, um, it's not looking good for the rest of the year. And I'm starting to get I'm not hitting the panic button yet, but I got that thing on me. You know what I'm saying? Like the panic button is right there, and we could hit that thing real quick at this point. So thoughts, just real concerned, man. Just real concerned about where this is headed and the direction this is going with Eberflus at the helm. Like I don't like his game management. I don't like his play, like his offensive coordinator selection. I don't like the plays that they call. I don't like the way that they run their offense and structure it to attack defenses in terms of like a holistic game plan. Like all of it just looks awful to my eyes. And yeah, I don't know what else to say past that.
Well, let me jump in on a couple points. First of all, it reminds me of year two through the end of his reign of Matt Nagy,
Yeah,
where I believe that the worst thing that Nagy did, because I remember 2018, man. 2018, we were on fire. We were ruling the North, and we had the potential to rule the NFC. Save one really bad decision, and that's keep a bad kicker, right? Special teams is important. You kept a bad kicker. You didn't keep an average kicker. You kept a bad kicker, a guy who was not clutch, who was going to let you down, and it happened, right? But moreover, like 2018 with the Nagy years, honestly, the offense was exciting. They were doing stuff. They were doing the fridge plays. They were pulling out plays from way back when, and stuff. And you were like, wow. And other teams were getting surprised, and we were punching the ball in at the goal line. We were physically tough, you know, and we got rid of Howard, who was our number one offensive weapon,
mhm.
and then we got really stale, and then we started trying to outsmart ourselves. And I feel like we're back at that outsmart ourselves point. When you go into the shotgun or the pistol from the 4 yard line 4 times in a row, and you're the Bears, okay? You're not the Cardinals. You're not like, you just, the franchise is called the Bears, right? If we were the Cardinals or the Pigeons, I could accept maybe behaving that way. We're the freaking Bears. We're the monsters of the Midway. And we go shotgun 4 times
Yeah,
from the 4
yeah.
and can't punch it in against the worst run defense in the NFL because you're overthinking it. Give me two or three tight ends. I know Blasingham's got some type of tweak injury, so he wasn't going to be out there. But give me three tight ends. Give me Roshan and give me Khalil Herbert in the backfield and put Caleb under center. He can do it and hike that ball and let's get in. If you're going to do it, I saw it. Did you see the Atlanta play?
Which
They
one?
were they were inside the 10, maybe inside the 5. They lined up in the old T formation, I think it's what it's called. 3 running backs and the quarterback. I don't remember if the QB was under center or not. It really didn't matter because they actually had, for the 3 running backs, they had a tight end, a fullback, and no, they had a tight end and 2 running backs. And as soon as they hiked the ball, it became a sweep left, which was the side that the T was, kind of skewed to, right? And it was a brilliant old school new version play because when they went, the tight end and the first running back, they went wide. So the defensive backs, and the safeties and linebackers that were over there had to choose: are we going wide to stop these guys from crashing the end, or are we going to cut up? So the safety and the linebacker over there, they went wide to help out the corner. And what did the running back do? Cut it up behind the tight end, right? He just cut inside of the tight end's hip and walked in because they can't cover both. Like there was, and not the because they had a tight end on that side. He was like split out. So there were 2 tight ends and another running back, and they ran towards them. And everybody ran that way, and the defense had to choose and commit, and they had to do it fast. If they had chose to bash it in the middle, he would have went around. If they had chose to do what they did, which is try to stop the outside run, he cuts it up. And it was a brilliant play out of something that was old and simple. At least show me that we are. What do we do? Go to a college, an average college, and pull their game plan, and we're using it. This is
No,
this is it's dry. It's
so
dry,
one
and
dimension.
sometimes it's thoughtless. You're just like that. I mean, that's 7 points. It's 7 points.
I mean, that's just a microcosm. Like you're so zoomed in on this like one sequence. Like you realize we threw the ball 52 times. We
Yeah.
probably brought back 60 times that game to throw with a quarterback in his third NFL game, with a running game that's averaging like 3, if that, yards a carry.
No, not averaging 3, man.
If that. That's what I said. Like
We ain't averaging 3.
We might be averaging 3 after Roshan Johnson had a couple of angry runs, maybe, but probably not. We're probably
You mean on the day?
No, I mean like on the year.
Yeah, Roshan they only gave Roshan 8 carries and he averaged 3.8.
Oh, that's terrible. Okay.
Yes, yeah, and I'm not mad. That's 4 yards a carry. Give him the ball 16 times, or 20 times.
But
at 4 yards a carry, he might hit 100.
What I mean is, why are we unable to run the ball against the league's worst run defense?
Well, we weren't persistent. You gave most of the carries to DeAndre Swift, who is he is not a Bears running back. He's proven that every week. He is not a Bears running back. He can run the ball behind a line like the Eagles had, a Super Bowl quality, great offensive line with Kelsey, one of the Kelsey brothers at the helm of that line. Yeah, he can run the rock with them. But a Bears running back has to fight his way out of the backfield. And if you don't have fight your way out of the backfield, you're going to end up looking like DeAndre.
Okay, but pause. Why do we have to fight our way out of the backfield every time, every year, every game? Why is it like
because we won't invest in the offensive line. We got one first-round pick on the offensive line.
That's the easy answer. But let's be real. Our running game, our coaching, our offensive line coaching, they're not doing a good job. We're seeing missed blocks everywhere. We're seeing bad assignment football. We're seeing like just terrible choices in terms of what plays we're calling and where on the defense we're attacking. We're not seeing any kind of like plan to this run game to really craft it and really attack a defense and find tendencies and then exploit them. We're not doing any of that. It's literally just like go out there, call, 97 power and then see what happens. Like that's really what's happening every time we put a running back out there with the intent to give them the ball. And then we come out here with Caleb, and Caleb's got receivers running free, and he's got guys deep, and he's missing guys deep, and he's a rookie, so he's going to miss guys.
He's a rookie. It's going to happen.
But his deep accuracy has been concerning. But underneath, he was doing okay. Like he was carving them up underneath for the most part. And maybe the Colts were selling out to stop the run, but forcing your rookie quarterback to throw 52 times in his third game is exactly the wrong thing to do. And I keep preaching this. Like last year, I wanted them to have Justin drop back and throw it a whole lot. Why? So that he gets comfortable just drop back, sling it, drop back, sling it. Even with the line as bad as it was, it's about the same as it is now. The line is on paper supposed to be better, but they're performing about the same, if not slightly worse. So why is that a bad thing? Okay, let me give you a little story. Let me give you an example. When you learn to ride a motorcycle, right? They don't give you the biggest, fastest motorcycle to start with. Why? Why is that? Like
you will end up plastered on a wall. The mistakes happen too fast.
Why will you end up plastered on a wall? Yes,
the mistakes happen too fast.
That's not really why. The mistakes happening too fast is more of a side effect of the bike's power, more so than the reason that you're not supposed to have that bike. The reason you're not supposed to have that bike, the reason you're supposed to start off with a nice, slow, friendly bike that's easy to learn is so that you're not thinking about what the bike is doing. You're thinking about what you're doing. Okay? Until you really master all of the little tiny steps that go into making sure that you're turning the right way and putting your eyes in the right places. That's a really big part, is where your eyes are looking. Make sure you're positioning yourself properly on the road, making sure that you're leaning into the turn the right way, making sure that you're braking correctly, making sure that you're using the right brake at the right time, your hand brake or your foot brake, making sure you're changing gears. All of those things are not natural. That even if you've ridden bikes your whole life, even if you've ridden like motorized bikes, if you're a sports car driver, whatever, you're going to be terrible the first time you get on a motorcycle, no matter what age you're at, no matter what, because it's just not a thing that your little monkey brain has practiced, evolutionarily speaking. You know what I'm saying? There's no instincts for that built in. So you have to learn how to control and master your own body, and then you can go and then impose your will on the bike. Right. And that's what quarterbacks need as well, because when they get to this NFL game, their eyes are in the wrong place. They don't know how to move around the pocket correctly. They don't know what's going to get them sacked. They don't know, can I run away from these type of guys? Am I fast enough? Am I quick enough to dodge them and just get a new angle? What angle is going to give me a beneficial like throw into coverage? Like what way should I roll out to give myself more options down the field? Like all of those things, they have to be focused on them and on what they're doing. And you can't look at the defense and be like, okay, well, while I'm doing this, while I'm learning how to escape the pocket and how to avoid pressure and how to keep my eyes downfield and how to, control my mechanics when I'm tired of running from these, when I'm getting hit and sacked by 300-pound guys, so that late in the game, I've got consistent mechanics and my accuracy doesn't diminish in the fourth quarter. Like while you're learning all of that stuff and your body is getting used to that, your body's getting used to the punishment and the exertion and all that. And yeah, you're a little used to it from college, but it's a different game. It's faster, it's bigger, it's stronger. Everybody around you is faster and bigger and stronger and smarter than you are. So while they're trying to learn themselves in the NFL game, you're like throwing them like, oh, okay, well, here's you've got your cover 2 beater on the right side and your cover 3 beater on the left side. And if you see man coverage, okay, if you see man coverage, then you call for this motion. That'll reveal the man or the zone. And they've got all this stuff going on, and all this stuff going on inside their own body, and all this stuff going on in the defense. There's nobody that can handle all of that. And the more that you do, you're going to overload these kids. You've seen Jaden Daniels on Monday Night Football with a real simple game plan. They called the same stuff he's been running since college. They call the same offense he's been running. They call very simple, like we're going to pick one thing that the defense doesn't do well, and we're going to go after that over and over and over. And we'll have an answer for everything because you've answered this in college, so we're just doing it a little faster. Meanwhile, what we do is take Caleb and then just chuck him into the deep end of the pool.
Well, I'll say that
How is that going to benefit him long term?
Well, let me say this. One of two things are going to happen, and you know what? If he's as talented and as phenomenal as everyone has said he is, and he's going to be able to prove whether he's as talented and phenomenal as everybody says he is. But if he is that talented and phenomenal, then when he goes on and he's going to learn anyway. He's going to learn despite the system. And partially, honestly, I think we saw some of that because the second half
He did a
was
little. He did a little
significantly better than the first half. I mean, not even comparable.
yeah,
The
he did a little.
first half, the first half was a disaster. Half one was a disaster from Caleb. I'm not saying he moved the ball and threw the ball, but you know he gets the big strike to a Dunze, beautiful, finally hits a really good deep ball and throws a pick right afterwards. It's just a silly, I shouldn't have done that, right? That was the first half. But somehow in the second half, he was able to finish drives. And I think that was huge. Even just get us to a field goal. Finish a drive. Don't waste a defensive turnover. Finish, score. It doesn't always have to be a touchdown, especially with our defense. And so I think there was a transition. Sometimes your grandfather, he used to say, it's better to be lucky than good. And I think they just got lucky.
Yeah,
Because honestly, that game could have been the end of Caleb's career. If the second half was worse than the first half, they could have broke his confidence. Because
that's
his confidence was already shaken.
that's what I'm talking about. And this is how you ingrain bad habits in quarterbacks. Because while he's over here like, oh, okay, maybe he does figure out the defense, and he can figure out how to pick apart the defense when he's in just like spread him out scramble mode. Just go full spread offense. Have him just get rid of it super quick. Maybe he
Bad
maybe he
habits.
won't figure out, but then he'll have mechanical issues because he's not focused on what his body is doing as he's doing this. He's just, oh, okay, well, I'm just gonna like rip it and not set my feet before I
Survive.
throws out of the pocket. Exactly. He's in
Can
survival.
anybody say Justin Fields?
Right. So
Justin learned how to survive. Mike Tomlin says, let me teach you how to quarterback.
right. So long story short, like I just think they're just really, really just like screwing the pooch like so hard. Like we mortgaged our future to select this kid, and we're not protecting him at all. We're not protecting him
I'm
mentally.
going to say we mortgaged our future.
Yes, we
That
did.
fell into our lap.
Yes, we did.
That
No,
it was a great move, but it fell into our lap. I mean, if Carolina hadn't been dumb as bricks,
that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about we had a young, promising quarterback with tons of upside still on the roster. We could have selected receivers that we don't have to pay $20 million like Keenan Allen that are potentially better than Keenan Allen already. Marvin Harrison looks incredible after 2 weeks, 3 weeks. We could have selected offensive linemen to shore up this huge problem.
yeah, that was one of mine. I said, give me a center and give me a tackle.
Yeah, Pittsburgh got Zach Frazier in the second round. He looks like the best center in the draft. Who's the dude that we were trying to pick out of the West Coast? JPJ. He looks like a stud at center. So like there's guys like that. There's guards out here that could have been replacing Nate Davis is overpaid, but so like we mortgaged our future. Let's be real.
Yeah,
like,
no, I mean, because I thought we keep Justin.
The Bears are bad for a long time.
I thought we keep Justin. Maybe we trade down a little bit, but we keep Justin. We get Marvin.
Yeah,
We get the best left tackle in the draft,
forget all that.
and we get a center. That was my thought.
Right, but forget all that. We didn't do that. That's
No.
the past. What we have now is a young, very, very impressionable quarterback that we are currently throwing to the wolves, and just saying, here, if you can swim, then you are a good swimmer. That is not a way to teach somebody how to swim. That's not how it works. And the Bears, for the life of me, cannot figure this out after the 76 quarterback that we've now thrown into the pool and asked them, can you swim? After we've thrown them in. And
yeah, we're not
at this point.
We don't teach quarterbacks how to quarterback.
No, we don't.
But here's the thing. If Caleb Williams is who they say he is, everybody says this is who he is. If he's who they say he is, he's going to swim anyway. because it's kind of,
That's
if
what's good
he's
about Trevor Lawrence.
anywhere on that spectrum of where they're putting him, which is the Michael Jordan, Steph Curry, LeBron James, Kobe Bryant, it's not gonna matter where you drop him in the water. It's not. But that's the level he has to be at to be successful,
That's
right?
the level he has
Because,
to survive right now.
well,
Because he has very
honestly,
little protection. He has no run game.
well, that's what I'm saying. He has to be a superstar in the making to survive.
And that's not how you make superstars. You make
But
superstars by
let,
putting
let
them in
me
the
let me
right
hone
position.
in on what you just said. I'm gonna look. I'm gonna read you the season stats. DeAndre Swift, 37 carries, 68 yards. Caleb, 11 carries, 67 yards. Roshan, 8 carries, 30 yards. Khalil, 8 carries, 16 yards. Travis, 3 carries, 16 yards. Velas, 2 carries, 11 yards. DJ Moore, 2 carries, 8 yards. And Rome, 1 carry for 2 yards. The entire team has 218 yards on the ground. Not a single person in 3 games has 100 yards total.
Yeah.
And when you look at it, I'm going to name the people that have more than a 4 yard per carry average: Caleb, Travis, Velas, and DJ. 4 or more. And guess who gets the ball the least? The guys who are averaging more than 4 yards a carry.
Mm-hmm. That's
This is,
unsurprising. That's wholly unsurprising. And that's like it's just a huge indictment on our coaching staff. Like that's really where I'm getting at. Because at the end of the day, this is all about your master plan as a talent evaluator on your own team, as a coach who's supposed to be putting your players in the best possible position to succeed. This isn't success. This is
well,
not what success looks like. And we're
I
not going
think
to get to success with this formula. We
this
have
is
to
as
change.
bad as this is as bad as the defense was at the beginning of last year. And I think if Flus wants to keep his job, he's going to have to use the same formula. Cut bait
See?
and take over the offense. He brought in a defensive coordinator.
God, he cannot
Doesn't
do it.
matter. Doesn't matter. You're a head coach.
There's old OC as our quarterbacks coach. We have another OC on the roster waiting in the wings. So if Shane Waldron really can't do it, then we've got another guy who's in much better position to actually pick that up and start calling offensive plays.
Well, you gotta. Guess what? Then you gotta make a decision. It's
oh my God!
you can't blow this. You can't blow this season. This season has everything. I mean, this is. They better be in Hallis Hall having that come to Jesus meeting with Waldron. Like, look, one, this is ridiculous. But two, you're giving away football games. You know, in the end, that game, the score was 16-21. You push that ball in, that one ball in for a touchdown when you're on the four times. You get that ball across the goal line, it was very doable. You get that ball across the goal line, we win. Period. And we can't throw away games, because you throw away enough games, you're not going to be in the playoffs.
Look,
if you're not in the playoffs, then why'd you do what you did? Why'd you spend all that money? Why'd you bring in all these free agents? Why'd you get rid of Fields and move to Caleb, which you're saying is an upgrade? And I'll give it to you. This is the first time we've seen a 350 plus yard pass performance. No argument.
It's also the first time we've seen somebody throw 50 passes trying to win a game.
In the first, in a couple of decades, as a bear, but to his credit, he pulled it off, right? It was a terrible first half. Second half, he pulled it off. If he can hone that back and hit like 275 and 2 touchdowns and no picks.
I don't care what the numbers are. I don't care about the numbers. I do not care what Caleb's numbers say, because numbers are not what's going to determine whether he's playing well or not. Unless the numbers are unlimited touchdowns and 0 interceptions, that's always good. But the fact of the matter is, what's going to determine whether he's playing well or not, what's going to determine whether he develops well or not, is whether he has a good grasp of what he is responsible for in an offense, and what everybody else is responsible for. And right now, we're not doing that. He has no idea what he's responsible for in the offense and what everybody else is. And you know what
Well,
that leads to?
I hope that's an overstatement. It looks like it, but I hope it's an overstatement.
He's calling protections. When
Well,
do you see a rookie quarterback with a veteran center and a rookie quarterback is calling protection? Jalen Hurts the other day. Jalen Hurts been in the league, 4 or 5 years? He tried to call a protection and got overrode by the center to just replace Jason Kelsey. And they were like, no, we're not doing that. We're going to slide this way. And then they were like, you know what, you're right. And he just went along with what the center said. Because Jalen Hurts' responsibility is to attack the defense through the air.
And well, honestly, a rookie quarterback calling protections is a little odd. That's a little odd, but it's a little odd.
It's not even just that. It's not even just that. Like, the point of the matter is, if we can't get him to focus on what he's doing, what his mechanics are, what his play calls are, his cadence, making sure he understands the concepts, how they're trying to attack the defense, things like that. Understand your part first, and then worry about the run game. Then worry about how the defense is attacking you. Then worry about how their blitz packages are like going to vary from game to like all of that advanced stuff. He doesn't need to be eating before he has his vitamins and minerals. And right now, he don't got no vitamins and no minerals to work with whatsoever. Because vitamins is your run game and your minerals is your offensive line protecting you. And he don't got neither of them things. So when you got him out there throwing 50 times, the only thing you're doing is teaching him how to play hero ball. And if you teach him early to play this hero ball, it's going to be a real struggle trying to undo that later. And we're going to be talking about, well, this is how they broke him. It's going to be the same thing that we just dealt with Justin.
Let me jump to something else. By the fact that we refuse to establish a run game and we refuse to seriously make a real investment in an offensive line, and let's be honest, we had a guy that could run behind a questionable offensive line in Demo. We get rid of him and we bring in Swift, who is not a replacement, not even close. Through 3 games, it's a joke.
Yeah.
What's happening is our defense, because we can't control the clock, our defense has played 5 or 6 games, literally in the amount of time they've been on the field and the intensity they've had to play. Mm-hmm. They're 5 games into the season. By the time we get to 17, those guys' bodies are going to be worn out. They're going to have played through the Super Bowl, mm-hmm. in effect, because you can't run the ball. You can't keep moving the ball. You got the defense out on the field all the time. Even when you score, you're off the field fast. Then it's a disaster. This is not good for the health of our defensive players or the quality of the defense.
Have you seen how all of the other former Bears are doing? Obviously, Demo doing well, Justin doing well. Both of them doing all the things that everybody said that they couldn't do while they were on the Bears. All the little, like, Justin Fields is playing consistent free football. Demo is running between the tackles and to the outside, breaking off big gains. And pounding.
Doing that when he was with us, he just didn't have a line.
Yeah, exactly though. So then you got Lucas Patrick. A couple of weeks ago was, I think, the highest graded guard in the National Football League. And then this past week, James Daniels was again the highest graded guard in the National Football League. And we've seen this before. Alshon Jeffrey leaves here, him and Jordan Howard, and immediately win a Super Bowl. It's so consistent that when players leave the Bears, they immediately get better.
And I mean, it's so they're used properly. I think the problem is
they're used properly. Exactly. Yeah. So what does that tell us about what the Bears are doing? When
we're not using people,
just had a 1,000-yard season and now has walked into here and can't average 2 yards a carry.
Right. And we're asking him to be Demo, and he's not. And we're not using him in the way that he has been successful in the past.
And we've got a running back who's very similar to Demo, and we won't give him the ball for the role that Demo.
Right.
I don't get. So we're about to see more Roschon this week. I think they finally figured that part out, at least. Like, it took them.
Yeah. Why did you spend money when you already hired him?
Don't even get me started, man. The long story short is, like, I am so quickly running out of confidence in this organization. Like, I didn't have a lot of confidence in them in the first place.
I
But
did. I felt like they turned around.
You do? Because I don't.
I felt like they had turned it around.
I felt like Poles has the organizational side running a much tighter ship than it has in the past. Like, it no longer feels like the McCaskies are still running everything.
Yeah, Poles and Kevin Warren
are making
are
decisions
running
about who plays on Sunday, right? So at the very least, that's improved. But on the field, once these dudes step out there, we saw all last year they were trying to fit Justin Fields in a square peg into a round hole. We saw them have ideological differences with Demo to the point where he said they make playing football not fun anymore. Like, there's so many instances of players and like coaches and all of this that like go to the Bears and mysteriously are terrible, and then go somewhere else and then are not.
Well, you know what
is over and over again, we're making the same mistakes as an organization. Is that this year we're doing the same thing we always do? Is not put our guys in the right position to succeed, not make the right coaching hires, not make the tough decisions like firing Eberflus to bring in a new coach with Caleb, if we're really going to do all that, so that at least the new coach and the rookie quarterback are at least on the same timeline. Because at the end of this year, man, we talked about this last week. If we come out of this easy stretch of games, if we come out of the easiest stretch of our schedule and we are deep in the hole, we are not having a winning season.
It's like having a class
at quarterback. Malik Willis looks like a better quarterback right now than Caleb Williams does.
It's like having a class and not doing your homework and flunking a few quizzes and expecting to get an A. It's not, you can't bury yourself. But let me say this. I would say the problem's not quite as thick as you're saying it. The problem is we're not accepting our identity. We're the Bears. Well, Lovey said it. He got away from it and got himself fired. We get off the bus running the ball, beat the pack, and we play hard-nosed defense. What is Pittsburgh doing right now? Getting off the bus, running the ball, playing hard-nosed defense, and beating everybody that's anywhere near their division, right? And what is Pittsburgh understands their identity. They're not looking up going, they won the Super Bowl with Roethlisberger not throwing for 200 yards a game at all the first time he was out there. They knew who they were, and they knew they weren't going to lose. They had Jerome Bettis in the backfield, and they blew people up, and they're like, Ben, just don't throw the ball to the other team. Sit back, learn, figure it out. You'll get to pass more later. We need to understand who we are. If we play Bear football right now with the talent we have, if we play Bear football, we win. We're 3-0 if we play Bear football. I mean, because we were actually in the doggone Texans game. That was the toughest game we had.
Yeah,
we were in that game. You play Bear football, you run that ball down the other team's throat.
Yeah.
But you know what? I'm gonna bring up a name. You guys used to beat me up over this name. Y'all miss Sam Mustipher now.
No, I don't.
Yes, you do, because he could run block and he could hike the ball.
I don't care. I'm so glad he's off my team. Don't ever bring him up again. Don't bring that man up again.
Hey, we haven't
nothing but the best.
We haven't left Sam Mustipher in the past because we haven't found a better center than he was since he left.
We haven't tried to find a better center. We keep
there we go. So what I'm saying is, as far as this is concerned, is we have polls for all. I respect and love everything this organization has done, save one thing. You didn't build the offensive trenches. You built everything else.
I don't respect and love everything this organization.
Yeah, well, no, I do. I think it's a vast improvement. But you didn't build the offensive trenches. If we had a line, we could run the rock. If we could run the rock,
Poles has done okay. Different. He's had one really fantastic trade, a bunch of questionable moves. Actually, two really fantastic trades. I'll call Montez Sweat another fantastic trade.
Fantastic trade.
But other than that, he's had two fantastic trades.
I think the Keenan Allen trade was a fantastic trade.
We'll see if that was a fantastic trade. If he's on injury reserve the whole year and we paid $20 million for him, then no, that's not super fantastic.
Good point.
So we'll see. That has yet to bear out. But at the end of the day, like, Poles, man, like if he can't get this offensive line right, and if he starts ruining another quarterback with Shane Waldron and Shane Waldron can't get it together, Poles gonna have to go too. Like what you
Well,
mean?
Poles is.
Him keep taking shots if he can't draft offensive linemen?
You know what? I'll say this: our draft has been better than it's been in a long time.
Yes.
You got to have some patience with the draft because you
But we
build
were so bad at the draft before that
right.
what we've got now is kind of mediocre.
No, I'm going to go past that. We've got legit starters that other teams would take in a second.
Most of them through trades.
Yeah, no. Let's talk about the draft.
Let's talk about the draft. Let's talk about the hits on the draft that other teams would take our starters in a second. We got Brisker and Kyler Gordon. I would say more Kyler Gordon than Brisker at this point. Brisker has been good, solid, steady.
Oh, a lot of teams
hasn't been a superstar.
2/3 of the teams in the league would take Brisker.
I would say half. So he's played solid football.
That's a good draft. If 2/3 of the teams would start your guy, that's a good draft. So you got Brisker, you got Gordon.
Two guys. Okay. Braxton Jones is a below average starter. Let's be honest.
Yeah, I'm not going with Brax.
He's below average.
Right
has proven to be average to medium. He's kind of medium right now. We'll see where he ends up. He's still medium. Cool. You got who else have we drafted?
Well, you got Caleb. You can't argue with that.
Stevenson has been pretty good.
Stevenson's been good, and
the book is very much out on Caleb Williams.
The book is out, but he's been all right. And then Smith.
Not been all right. He's been abjectly terrible up to this point. He's got 5 turnovers to 2 touchdowns and 9 out of 11 drives against the worst defense in the league ended in a 3-and-out. That was his best game. So Caleb has been abjectly terrible, but that's not all his fault. So I'm not just putting that at his feet. Okay, because he's playing the hardest position in all the sports. It's been a lot of other stuff. Now, who else? Roshan Johnson hasn't really done much. Has potential, hasn't really done much. Velus Jones, huge bust.
Yeah, that's a bust. Velus is a bust.
That's been awful. Who was trading the pick for Chase Claypool?
Well, that's not a draft pick. You can't call that.
He used a first round pick on that. He used the 32nd pick in the draft. It was the 32nd pick in the draft. It was a second rounder technically, but because Miami had forfeited their pick, it was a first round pick. It was a top 32 selection. That's the Super Bowl winner's pick. Okay, so that was a first round pick that we used on Chase Claypool. So that counts. That counts against him. So the draft has been mixed results. We got a few good players. We got a few guys. Zach Pickens, another third round pick, who I haven't seen.
You can't forget about our boy Gervon Dexter. Gervon Dexter is a win.
Zach Pickens hasn't touched the field. So this is just out of the top half of the picks where you're supposed to hit on these guys because you're picking out of the most talented.
Tory Taylor's a hit. You got to give Tory Taylor a hit.
But we picked a punter in the 4th round when we need offensive linemen.
Yeah, I'm not mad about picking Tory Taylor. He changes the field.
He doesn't change the pocket.
He doesn't change the pocket, but he flips the field.
And beyond that, just not just the players that were picked, the opportunity cost of the players that we passed up to select them. Instead of Jaquan Brisker, and no disrespect, I love Brisker. Instead of Brisker, we could have took George Pickens, who looks everything very much like a superstar. Instead of Gervon Dexter, we could have took.
Yeah, but you wouldn't have taken Pickens last year when he was a head case.
In 2022. Yes, I would.
Pickens was a head case, and
okay, fine,
what other organization besides the Steelers could reel him in?
Fine, let's go to last year. Instead of Gervon Dexter, we could have picked Rashay Rice. Instead of Gervon Dexter, we could have took Juice Scruggs at center. Instead of Zach Pickens, we could have took Joe Tippmann at center. I could do this all day.
Oh yeah, I mean that's
on our roster where you've prioritized the quarterback and just ignored all of the things that support the quarterback.
I don't disagree that you had to draft. We didn't draft
players. That is insane. That is insane. If you're going
to draft the lineman, we should have drafted to protect the quarterback, to protect Fields, or to protect Williams.
And all of those guys grade out higher than the guys that we selected. All of them.
Well,
So what does that say about our scouting process? At a position of need, we passed on the better player to take a slightly worse player at a position of less need, but our defensive coach said he wanted it.
Yeah, well, the defense is the only thing that's holding us up.
Yeah, because our offense has neglected all of the important positions for the last 3 years. Like
the trenches. The offense starts in the
Am I
trenches.
just like, am I insane? Do I live in the twilight zone? Like, why is that a good thing?
It's definitely the twilight zone.
I would rather have a trash defense and a quarterback who is upright, who could learn and develop, and then you could draft defensive players while he is being taught and developed and protected. You could draft defensive players, and the defense can get good while the offense is already humming. If you really focus the quarterback like this.
Here's the key. I think we have to play the season out with the guys we got. And we don't have a bad roster. We have a good roster. We have a good roster. We've got some weaknesses. Every team does. You have to play away from your weaknesses. You can't play to your weaknesses.
Now we're back to the coaching thing.
Okay, there we go. You have to, and as Denny Green said, it wasn't Denny Green, it was Herm Edwards. We play to win the game. That's what we got to start doing. We're not playing to win the game.
Nope.
We're just playing.
We have been for years.
We're not playing to win the game, and this is tough to swallow because when when Justin gets sacked 9 times, you turn around, you change everything, and Caleb gets sacked 7 times to start his. You got to sit back and go, come on, guys.
Time is a flat circle.
I never heard that one before.
Yep. Anyway, so we got the Rams next.
Yeah.
Do we have any chance of beating the Rams?
Matthew
Stafford's playing out of his mind right now. But they do have some injuries. I think Puka and Cooper Kupp are both hurt. But that didn't stop them last week against the 49ers. So
I trust our defense against anybody. The problem that we have is, are we going to wear their spirit down?
No. I'm going to just tell you that right now. No, we're not.
It started to look a little worn against Indianapolis.
We don't have the capacity, big man.
Their spirit looked a little worn against Indianapolis. That was their worst game defensively. And we're complaining because, hey, we only held a team to 21. That's like, oh my God, you let them score 21.
It's only going to get worse because they're just going to get more tired and more injured. We saw freaking Jalen Johnson go down holding his hand. And he came back. Cool. We saw Billings go down holding his hip or something like that. He came back. Cool. But they're just going to keep getting more dinged up. And the points totals are just going to keep going up and up until we can figure out how to protect our quarterbacks, how to develop them like we have some common freaking sense. So until then, my prediction is that the Rams roll us. Until I see something different from these dudes that makes me believe that they're going to.
You know what? I'm going to go against you.
We're going to win.
I'm going to go against you. I'm going to say that second half Caleb has learned some things about throwing the ball, and he's learning to get the ball to his weapons. I'm going to say that we're figuring out that we have to run Roschon Johnson no matter how much we paid Swift. And we're figuring out that we've got to stop just hanging the defense out to dry.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if we can put those 3 thoughts together, we can take down the Rams.
The problem is, Flus only has room in his head for 2 thoughts at a time. Sorry, that was me.
That was lame. But and the Rams are 1-2, just like us. They're not a monster team.
No, but they just beat the 49ers. They're not a joke either.
Yeah, that's a divisional game, though, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Anything can happen.
All right. So officially, you predict the Bears win.
No, I said they can. I didn't say it's a prediction.
Oh, okay. Well, So's predicts the Bears win too. I'm gonna just tell you that now.
Yeah. Every time.
So once again, I'm the only one who is living in reality.
Well, you know what? With the performance of the run game, it's very possible that we're 1-3. But
that's not
at the same time, if we give Roshan 20 carries, he might get 150 yards and a touch. And I'd say if he does that, we win.
That would be incredible. I'd love that.
If he does that, it takes pressure off the defense. It takes pressure off of Caleb. If yeah, you know, give him the ball 20 times. Let's see what happens.
Only one way to find out.
Yeah, give him the ball 20 times. See it. Let him get ahead of steam going downhill.
Mm-hmm.
Let him get. It's frustrating, man.
I know.
It's hard wearing this blue.
Trust me, I know.
Yeah. Well, I'm Uncle.
I'm Son.
We're talking about the Bears. Oh.